What's up, guys? We're back to the Purpose in the Playlist podcast. We got our first recurring guest on. Peair's back. Peair's
Yo,
back.
we made it.
Yeah, welcome on back, Peair. So
I know, right?
yeah, we're here to dive more into Swamp. We've already heard his story about getting into music and his faith journey. If you've not listened to that episode, make sure you go listen to that one. We also talked about Swamp and the early stages of it. And so we're going to talk a little bit today of like the more finished product and what you're getting ready to listen to as it drops. And we also just want to, talk about the process of that. Like we were talking before we started that I heard it early before a single was released, and
Yeah.
now I've heard, or now like as songs come out, like they've changed, and it's been cool to see that process.
hmm it's been very interesting to see like how you start from something and then how you finish something, It's always like it maybe it's the same, but like for this project itself, it's like a lot of it changed, which it was just the cool thing about that, I think the only record that truly stayed the same, or like I want to say two maybe, is like Camp and then Shoes. But Camp is unreleased, so nobody knows. But that in itself was just kind of like recorded, mixed, mastered, done, and then it was never touched, and it's like still good. But everything else has been like touched so many times. We actually tried to touch Camp, but then I ended up like reverting all the changes because it wasn't what I wanted. So it's
I
just neat. It's a lot of trial and error and seeing what like kind of sticks and what doesn't. So it's been fun to like pick apart every piece of the album. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, actually, Camp is like from listening to it when you sent it to me before. Camp has been my favorite, so I'm excited for it to come out. I
Yeah.
mean, it's also cool because the whole story behind it and how you recorded it. So, do you want to go ahead and get
Mhm.
started with kind of like the track list?
Yeah, sure. So like going from first to last, there's 9 songs on the project. First song's Firestarter, it's the intro, kind of getting that hype, that edginess to it. Then you go straight into Crocodile Dundee, which is probably a good fan favorite that I've kind of seen to like retain. Um, so it goes into that and then goes into Camp, which is 7 rapper cipher kind of feel. A lot of like all of my friends are on that song basically.
Yeah, it's probably one of the
And
reasons I
so it's just
like it is
mhm,
I've had most of those guys on, so it's like, oh, I know
facts.
that guy, I know that guy.
Yep. And it's cool to like collectively come together and like have so many artists. Like it's 7 other rappers on this song. So like the fact that we get to orchestrate something with so many different like voices have been such a like it's been such a cool thing to like mix as well as like produce on as well as being an artist on. So it's just like it's super neat to have kind of like so many voices just juggling into like one song and it kind of just flowed throughout. So it's cool to see that.
Yeah.
But after Camp it goes into Shoes. um there's like a ending part on Camp where it's like I forgot what it said. Oh wait, no, it's asking the question, "Who are you?" Because it's like the idea, and it's like in a deep voice. So it's at the end of Camp, and it goes straight into Shoes after that. And then I like it because it's like asking the question, and then in the beginning of Shoes, it almost sounds like I'm answering the question. Because I go like a heavy, dirty soul trying to balance out the weight of his sins, talking about myself, and
Mm.
it's just like kind of neat how that kind of flowed through. So I'm happy about that. After Shoes, it goes into Fight or Flight extended version, where Fight or Flight on the single, it's kind of shorter, but this one's like a minute longer. We have a guitar solo that my friend Eli Husky did. He's also on Cage Flower, but I'll get to that when we get to that, which is actually right after Fight or Flight. But Fight or Flight guitar solo, then it goes into Cage Flower. Cage Flower also has like a music video that I can talk about more later on, that I'm actually releasing tomorrow, so that'll be fun. Filming that was like such a journey in itself, but it was really, really cool, and we've gotten to do so many fun things with that video in itself. But that song's kind of like the central theme of the album is the idea of something beautiful trying to grow, but it's encapsulated in like a hostile environment, like a chaos-driven environment. So it's hard because one, you have this limitation of being in a cage. You can't really like break through that. So it's the idea of this character trying to break through that. So after Cage Flower, it goes into Parachute, which is kind of a fun record where you see like this character kind of become really more influenced than he really should be. And you kind of see like, oh, maybe he's like kind of getting closer to the edge. And so kind of all that anticipation. It's also neat because we tracked the acoustic guitar and then I also added a lot of sample chops. So I was playing with this MPK 88 and I just started getting into like sample chopping and so it was funny cuz I could talk about this more later in a second too, but it was just the fact that like I spent 8 months writing and recording, and then 2 months extra to just fully map out the production and everything, and then I started picking up sample chopping, and so like doing that on Parachute, it's really cool because I took my voice and I just ended up like implementing it into like more of a rhythmic sense. And so adding that was just really cool for like the layering, and then adding the acoustic guitar as well been really fun. But after Parachute goes into Echo, that's already out. With JJL, that's really cool because you kind of see like the effect that it's having on like almost like a traumatic event. Seeing like mental health is a big thing, and we released that during like Men's Mental Awareness Month. So I thought that was
Mm.
kind of cool to like have that record also have more meaning than it initially did. But finding an impactful way to like present that is always fun. Um, After Echo, you go into the last track, Red Flare. Um, Recently bought this for content as well as shows, so it's not real. It's 3D printed, so hopefully I don't get arrested for carrying this. But it's cool. Red Flare is kind of the last track. It kind of shows this escape, where if you can kind of interpret it as an escape, or maybe it's somebody trying to escape and never does. It's kind of like up for the interpretation of it, but the idea is this character has a red flare and he's trying to signal a way out of the swamp, and so you kind of see that throughout where he's like trying to decide the right time to do something and doesn't know if he's really invested in actually leaving or not, and it's just kind of neat. But you have this cool like sample chop at the end as well that I got to make, and so it's really fun because that song in itself had like an alternate ending that I was like trying to play with, and then I just decided it wasn't the right thing sonically, so I ended up choosing like this sample chop outro that I was like such a fan of, and I think it'll be really fun to perform with. But other than that, that's the 9 songs that I presented. Um, and that's the album Swamp. That's the whole thing. I don't know if I'm gonna do a deluxe yet. Just kind of seeing the retention of that original first before anything. But I've been doing a lot of music outside of this project alone. It's just more of like these are like the magnum opus, so I had to like sit and like kind of really refine everything before saying like I'm gonna do anything else because I just wanted to get the art just as good enough, not good enough, just good enough for me to be like I'm confident enough these records are gonna, you know, be something that people want to listen to. So that's kind of like the summary of the track list
Yeah,
for Swamp.
that's great. Yeah, last time you were on, you kind of went through the story of your dream and how that kind of started this album going through your dream of being stuck in that swamp and trying to get out and,
Yeah.
shooting that red flare. So that's really cool. What has been maybe like the coolest experience um, of working on this album?
Um, my coolest experience was more of like how unexpectedly I was gonna like I wasn't expecting to work with so many people on a project. But with Center Soul, I majorly did all of that by myself and everything, and it was cool and it was fun. But I also kind of struggled with it throughout because it was like some records were heavier than others, and it felt like weird being isolated while talking about so many different emotions and stuff. And so I think that also kind of plays an effect on artists in general. But it was just more something I had to like sit back on because I did like fall out of love with music for a good second.
Mm.
And then I ended up falling way more in love with music than I ever did. now I'm in a position where like creativity kind of just flows and I'm in the best space I could possibly be in mentally. And I love that because there's so many people I can not necessarily utilize, but I have a relationship where everybody wants to support each other. And I think that's like such a good thing to have, especially in a music career where it's so cutthroat and so like you don't know your next move sometimes and you're just in those positions. But having such a good community backing you is like really what any artist would want, you know? And so having that and like having people reach out to me about the project before it's even dropping and like telling me like how much like improvement there is on the rapping and just the production and the craft and the art that I've been working on has been such a like blessing to see, you know? But definitely like the people who are on this project. I did not anticipate them being on the project, but that has definitely been like the best experience out of it all. Because I love people and I love relationships and I love incorporating unity together and just seeing like what's gonna work and what's not, and so it's just fun to just continue to try and continue to pursue something that people want to pursue with the people that you love. So it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, talking about working with people. I remember when you first sent it to me, and I listened to at the time it was running. Now, Fight or Flight. I was like,
Hmm.
something's missing here. Something's missing here. Then when you released it with the female vocals, I was like, because that was the
Hmm.
section. I was like, something's there's just
That's
something's
shoes you're talking
missing.
about.
Oh, shoes. I'm
Some of the
sorry.
shoes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
shoes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The first time
Mhm.
I listened to it, I was like, there's something missing in this section. Then you released it with the female vocals on it, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, that's what was missing.
Yeah,
uh,
it's funny. It's funny. That record in itself was like there was like at least like 11 versions of that song like before
okay.
we even had like but shout out Gabriella. She's coming with me to do a show July 24th. So when the album drops, we're doing a show in Atlanta. And so I have her, and then the guy named Edward, but his artist name is Blue. He's on Red Flare. He's coming out. Eli's coming out, so that'll be fun. We're gonna have him rip a guitar solo on Fight or Flight, so that'd be sick. As well as sing on Cage Flower. And then that's everybody I'm bringing like off the album, but I'm excited to like again, those are all people that I was in college with, and so
Yeah.
like being able to like bring those people out and like do a show with them to showcase the project that we've all kind of been like working on together in a way. Majority me, but like having people come in and everything like that.
Yeah.
But it's just I'm like I said, it's fun. I don't know why it's just so much fun to like be able to create and everything. It's a lot of work and it's like definitely like the passion takes over when it comes to
Hmm.
that because like you get so passionate about songs that you write, you know? And I just my goal is like to not have this album fall on deaf ears. That's why I'm so like aggressive with like marketing, PR, just trying to stay on socials and everything like that. But it's definitely the grind to it. But it's fun, and I'm trying to make it as fun as possible for myself, so it is more enjoyable, you know.
That's great. That's great. I see that you shaved the beard. I saw on social media you said you were
A
gonna
little
grow it
bit.
out till it was done.
Mhm.
So now I
Mhm.
guess it's done. That's
Yeah,
part of the
yeah. I did a little
marketing.
trim. I did a
Yeah,
little trim because I kind of like it. So now it's kind of just more stubble at this point. Um, but I'm sure it'll grow back. But I'm probably gonna clean shave it um pretty soon. I'd give it like I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm really hesitant because it's like I know I said I was gonna shave it and everything, but I'm also like, well, if I get a buzz cut, maybe that's to keep the beard because I don't want if I buzz my head, I don't want to like have a naked face, you know? Like
I got
I
that.
don't want to be like weird looking.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I'm hesitant.
I had grown my beard out from January to my brother's birthday, and I said, or
Mhm,
to his wedding, and I
mhm.
said because he has a big beard and he likes beard, so he had been wanting me to
Yeah.
grow it out. So it's like I'll grow it out to April, but the day after his wedding, I'm shaving it. I ended up falling in love with it, and then I kept it for a while, and then one day I was trimming it up, and I went a little too far. Uh,
Mhm.
and I had to take it off. But I had a haircut like that week, and I was getting a buzz cut, and I was like, no, for the
No.
same reason. But
Does your hair
Uh,
grow back fast though?
yeah, decently. I mean, this was about a month ago, and so,
Yeah, there you go.
it was a skin fade, so it's about time for another one.
Yeah, fact.
But I mean, I wear a
Sick
ton of
though.
hats anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Mm,
but
I feel that.
yeah, yeah. So that's a cool marketing thing too. Of like, hey, I'm gonna shave or do something when the album's done. And yeah, like I said,
Hmm.
I can't blame you because I got the beard grown out. I was like, hey, that kind of looks good.
Yeah,
But
I was getting so many compliments when I had grown the beard, and I was like, oh. But then there's like in some cases where it's like, well, maybe it'd look better clean shave. But then I'd look at it and people are like, no, you look good with a beard. People have told me like I feel like I'm a wiser person with a beard, and I think that's so funny.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I
know.
also paid to get it shaped up right before the wedding, and I'm like, I'm not taking this off. I just paid to get it shaped.
Yeah, that's
So,
funny. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So back into the album a little bit. Um,
Hmm.
so you talked about going to school from. You went to school for music, correct?
Hmm.
And
Commercial
working with
music, yeah.
different people. Yeah.
Hmm.
You've graduated now, I'm guessing.
Yes, fully graduated. Diploma's over there. Shout out Sanford. We're lit.
Nice, nice. So how did your schooling and being in school for music um, help with this album? You talked about multiple people have from your school helped with the
Hmm.
album. So yeah.
Yeah. I think people say this a lot in Nashville when you like if you're an artist and you're like planning on moving to Nashville, but it's more of like not what you know, but it's more about who you know. And I
Mm-hmm.
think like the music industry is more relationships than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to be as talented as Justin Bieber or like Beyonce, right? Like you could go in and be like, yeah, I'm all right at this. But the idea is that like for me at least, I always strive myself to continue to get better, continue to like be the best version of this artist I want to be. And I know I'm probably not gonna like be not everyone's favorite artist at some point. And that's not even the goal. It's just like to create and like see who gravitates with that. Um, but yeah, I think it's Sanford was a great place of community where I was like able to fit in as like some rapper where I was the only rapper when I joined. And now I left and now there's three more rappers in Sanford. So it was really cool to kind of pioneer that and be like, hey, like I was in like an ensemble with rap and I was like I was able to like network with people and people saw that talent and believed in me and supported me enough to even help me. And I think that was like a big thing in itself. Like when you really work at something and people notice, like it's cool to like receive flowers from that. And so being able to cultivate so many relationships, even outside of Sanford, I think it goes beyond where you're at because it's just more of like where can you meet people at? And like I've traveled to Atlanta so many times. I've been in Nashville so many times and even Jacksonville and like Orlando. But like it's just the idea of continue to cultivate relationships, networking, and meeting the right people, and having the same common interests. Like it kind of just works. If you click, then it's gonna work, and it's that's the fun part. It's like when you're really dogs and you're like just the homies making music, and that's been like the biggest blessing for me in my own life is just to really have those people in my phone, in my contacts, and being able to reach out to them. Like, there's so many people that are just God sent in my life where I've been in the position where I'm like, I had no control. God just kind of brought this person in, and then it became a relationship right after that. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, seeing how God steward the relationships in my own music journey is such a blessing in itself. And I really can't thank God enough for it. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can be all talented in the world, and if no one hears it or be able to put it in front of people, then like it's for nothing. Like if no one found
Yeah.
Justin Bieber's YouTube channel, we don't have Justin
Yeah.
Bieber. Um, but yeah, and so God working through that of putting people in your lives or in your life to help with those relationships to get you in front of more people. Since the last
Mhm.
time we recorded, you made Rapzilla freshman
Yeah.
class. So like that's another spot where people are gonna see you, and God putting that in place, which is really cool.
Yeah. It's also funny because I just landed you know Scooty Wop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just landed a song with Scooty Wop. So that's gonna be really cool. But
Yeah.
he did
Was
like an open verse
I was gonna
challenge.
say, was that the open verse challenge?
I had posted the reaction yesterday on socials, but I was like I wasn't even tuned into the stream. I was at a wedding in
Mm.
Kentucky, and I was like in the wedding, so I couldn't. I had to be attentive, and
Yeah.
so it was awesome. I loved it. But then I looked back like the next day. It was yesterday, and I look at my phone because he did it through this app called Band, and I was like, oh shoot. And then I see my name like first place, Pierre, and I was like, oh. I was like, and he was like asking me to like send my stems so he could drop the song, and I was like, my fault. I was at a wedding,
That's
and I'm like,
awesome.
oh, I just landed a song with Scooty Wop. That's sick. And
Yeah.
so it's exciting because it's like I'll be on the first version. There's two different versions, and it's a song called "Tell It," and like the chorus is pretty catchy. It's like really fun. So
Yeah.
being able to write, record something to that, and then like unexpectedly opening my phone saying like, "Oh, yeah, like send your stems." I'm like, "Oh, that's sick." So it's cool to like be such a like so persistent in someone's craft, and then you kind of just unexpectedly like realize you, oh, I there's some success here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. But it's also like I'm thinking about that like in the back of my head where I'm like so fixated on my own project because that's like the like I said the magnum opus that I've been grinding so hard for, you know. So it's just exciting because I'll say this, I don't think, and this could be such, this is a clip right here. You could clip farm this for like socials, but like I don't think there's anybody in CHH who sounds like me. And I think that's like such a cool thing to have because my music is so original. Not even AI has taken it. Like I
I
looked
was
up
gonna
my
say
I
that.
looked up my artist page on Watchdogs and nothing was found. So I was like, "Oh, cool. Maybe AI doesn't rock with it, but like I think people really will." And I think it's such a cool thing to sit here and be like, "Man, I really am making something that's shifting the Christian hip hop culture."
Yeah.
And the more and more I continue this, I feel like more and more people will really notice that. And I mean, I won't be surprised in like the next few years that some people start making records like Peair. And so I say that in like the least narcissistic way, but like it's different when you really sit down and like take the time to make something so intentional and really have something to say that this album in itself is that. You know, I'm trying to create a moment for people that can relate to this as well as just more sonically it's so different because you don't listen to Christian hip hop records that sound like this. It almost sounds more secular than Christian, but it's the idea that it's all giving glory back to God, and I think
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm all for not sounding like the rest of CHH or whatever, because for a long time any Christian media falls into that category of they're making it for
Yeah.
Christians, and I think we should be making good music, using the talent to make good stuff, not take shortcuts because Christians are going to listen to it. And you're right. That first time I ever um, listened to you, uh, that was the first thing that stood out. Was I was like, first I was like, wow, but I've never heard anything like this.
Yeah.
Never heard someone rap like this, but it's good. And so I
Mhm.
immediately was like sending it to all my friends who like is in the CHH community, like, hey, you need to check this
Yeah.
out. And all of them were back. And then I will be like, hey, have you, next time I talk to them, like, hey, have you checked out Peair yet? And they're like, nah. Then when they finally, then when Crocodile Dundee came out, I was just sending them the links. And then they were like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy's good. And went back and listened to your other stuff. And so,
There
yeah,
you go.
man, it's definitely God's giving you that talent, and I'm glad to see you use it. Going
Mhm.
back to the open verse thing,
Yeah.
I've been seeing that be like a pretty cool big thing in Christian music in general right now. I know
Yeah.
my brother uh, loves Josiah Queen, so when he did the um, open verse challenge, and he's not the first one to do it. But when he did
Yeah.
the open verse challenge, like my brother was consistently sending me people like, "Hey,
Hmm.
listen to this," and then when he started dropping songs with multiple of them, I mean, he's put me on to some people that I was like, okay. And then Forrest Frank followed it up too. And we even have Donnie Wahlberg on a Forrest Frank song. Didn't have that
Yeah.
on my bingo card. Uh,
No.
but uh, yeah,
I'll
yeah,
I'll say this. I'll say this about open verses.
yeah,
I think there's a balance between it all because
yeah,
obviously it becomes spammy.
yeah.
And like anytime Forrest Frank has posted an open verse challenge, it's like on my feed for a month. And I get
I
sick of the
feel
song
that.
before it's even out. And it's like Forrest Frank makes like very simplistic music because it's for kids.
Yeah,
It's catered to kids.
yeah,
And I think that's a great thing that he does, and I love that. Um, for me, it's like I only want to do open verse challenges with somebody that I
yeah,
truly am inspired of. And like I think thinking about Scooty Wop, like he is so intentional with creativity, and that's kind of his like I want to even say, I would even argue and say creativity is like kind of part of his brand because he's trying to make things that are different, you
yeah,
know? And
yeah,
so landing that I think meant more to me because this is an artist I truly look up to and I like kind of study in a way. Like when Spinback dropped and then all that stuff happened and he got signed to Sony and everything, like I was like, dang. Like, and I wasn't even the same rapper that I am now, but like, it's the fact that like, and he was also a Rapzilla freshman, which I think is so cool. So I sent that to the Rapzilla chat and everything, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's sick." But it was
yeah,
just, it's cool to see like full circle moments with that kind of thing because you look at this artist and you admire this artist, and you're like, "Dang, this guy's sick." Like, I'd love to meet him one day. And I met him last summer at Smoke Fest, but it was just one of those things where like it was just in passing and everything, but it was so cool. And then getting this, and he followed me on Instagram and everything like that. Like, it's cool to like have those things, but it's never like that's gonna be the thing that like gets me to where I want to be. It's
yeah,
just another thing
yeah.
getting me there, you know.
You
And
answered my question. My question was
so
gonna
when you
be,
look at it like that,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. My question was
Sorry,
gonna
I didn't
be,
even let you. I just wanted to
oh,
like,
you're good. My
yeah,
question was, I was leading into the question of how do you pick which one to jump on? Like, how did you
yeah,
pick to get
yeah,
on Scooty Wop? So that's great because I know
yeah,
I like was tagging like a bunch of people when Forrest Frank dropped it. Like, we'll let to
yeah.
hear it,
Fact,
and
fact.
yeah, and like when I saw the Scooty Wop one, I was like, okay, this one fits. This one's good. Like,
Hmm.
and like I went to the Forrest Frank concert like a month ago now, and
Yeah.
I saw someone post like they called it Kid Cella, and I thought that was funny. You know, he's saying like he makes music for kids, and like I took my
Yeah.
mom. That was like her Mother's Day gift. As we went, and
Mhm.
she's a third grade teacher, so her kids are always like Forrest Frank, because she teaches
Yeah.
at a Christian school. So, but yeah, yeah, definitely like being selective, not just trying to be like, oh, maybe I can get
Yeah.
more views if I do something with Forrest Frank, but it's not really me, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, yeah, and I agree. Like towards the end, I was like, okay, I'm kind of tired of anytime I get on social media, just another open verse challenge.
Facts.
But
Facts. You could really make it your brand if you think about it.
yeah,
Like, there's so many. I remember like getting into the space, and then I didn't know what open verse challenges was,
yep,
and then I saw Breno, and like Breno like kind of blew up through open verse challenges, which that was like really cool to see that. Then I realized it was also like I don't want to be like very one, I don't like the idea of biting Eddie Buddy's like flow. Like I'm not gonna do what Breno did just because it worked.
yeah,
It's more of like, can I find my own thing and make it work, you know?
yeah,
So I think that's like a cool way to mind like I guess it kind of comes back to this overarching philosophy that I have, but I kind of picked this up when I was in the green room at Smoke last year and the year before and everything, but it's the idea of making your own table for
mhm,
people to sit at instead of sitting at somebody else's table.
yeah,
And I think when you put it in that philosophy way, as an artist, it's like I want to go and get this and I want people to like want to be here. I don't want to like pull my chair up and be like, "Hey guys," and like show up unannounced kind of thing. Where it's like that's not one. I think authenticity is like anyone can see that. Anyone can see like through the fake. So like everything that is that, I'm never trying to touch. I just want to be myself and
Yeah.
showcase who I really am. And I think this album showcases that perfectly in so many emotional ways. And then myself being in the position where I am now, like it's organic, it's natural, and I know enough to be like, okay, I get to pick and choose and like see what I want to do because I love to do so many things, but I also have to be organized and like construct that and schedule that because if I don't, then it's just going to be chaotic content or whatever, you know? And I think no, that's not how record labels would move. I think you should probably think more like a professional than anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So getting back into the album, what is a song that you think has changed? Which is the song you think has changed the most from the beginning to the end, like when you started writing it to the finished product?
Uh Shoes is a great example. Parachute also kind of an same example. Shoes itself was more of like the girl part that's singing, I was singing that, and I knew that was like more of a demo because I just wanted to have the idea than anything. Um, but when Gabriella stepped into the studio, I remember that day, I was like kind of going through it, but I ended up like sucking it up and like I'm gonna record this because I need to. Because I was also getting graded on it, and so I was like, oh, this is
Mm.
also for this and everything, and for the album and all that stuff. I also just wanted to see this record become so much better than it once was, and because I'm not like the best singer or anything, and I knew like it wasn't the right, it wasn't fitting. So I was like, okay, how can I incorporate this? I bring it to my professor, Metz. Shout out him, and he was like offering the idea of bringing a girl on, and I was like, oh shoot, who can I think of? And the first person that came to mind was Gabriella. I got to work with her in like a band and everything, and so we kind of cultivated a relationship through that. And she's just a great singer, very talented. We went to Nashville together at the beginning of the summer for a GMA songwriting event, and I got to get connected with so many people there. We played Cage Flower for them, and that was such a cool moment. It was Jackie Batelli. I could be saying that wrong, but she's like the CEO of the Dove Awards and everything. So
Oh,
it was really
cool.
cool to bring that record and show her that. And then Gabrielle was also there. But
Yeah,
and she loved it. It was really cool. So I'm supposed to be meeting up with them pretty soon as well when I get back down to Nashville. So we'll see.
yeah,
But it's been great. It's been awesome. But Shoes was definitely the record that changed the most just because there were so many different versions. And I knew that song meant so much to me, especially the meaning of it. Like the idea of feeling misunderstood and then using that expression, what if you could walk in my shoes? Like walking a mile in someone's shoes. Like it's such a cool concept that isn't written about often. And I wanted to like kind of bring that to life in a hip hop way as well as like a swamp way and having that
mm-hmm.
production behind it and implement the cinematicness. Like it feels like it's a movie to me. It feels like it would be scored in a movie. Um, but like I said, when Gabriella walked into the studio, she already had harmonies like in her mind. She already knew what she wanted to do, and she just asked me, and she was like, and I was just like, "You got to do what you got to do. Like you, I want you to like take this as far as you can, you know." And she
Yeah,
killed it. She murdered it, and it was just such a cool thing. Like we ended up like on the first chorus, we ended up like reversing her phrases right before she said those phrases. So it sounded like a little like rewind. It was like, what if you could walk in my shoe? So it's just kind of cool.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, definitely shoes.
Yeah. Did you get to use a lot of this album for like schoolwork? You said that you were
Yeah.
graded on shoes. That's cool. That's cool because you get to
Yeah.
hear the feedback from a professor who's
Mhm.
grading on specific things and like getting to use it.
Mhm.
That's a really cool thing.
Facts. It was there was pressure to it because the idea of getting something done at this deadline
Yeah.
and then like being critiqued for it is like kind of stressful in itself, especially when music becomes like assignment instead of like a passion. And I think that's kind of like where I was kind of falling out of music like for a second, but then I kind of got
Mm,
back. Um, but it was the idea that this was my senior project. This album itself was my senior project, and it's a completely different version from where it was as a senior project to now because it wasn't what I wanted. It was just more of like getting it done for the grade. And now I'm in a position where it's like, no, this is what I want. So like this is how I want people to see this, you know.
yeah,
But definitely like it was a little stressful having that as a class and everything as well as like I want to pursue this and this is the thing I want to push instead of this. So,
yeah,
but to get it done, you gotta sometimes you just really gotta take your punches and get back up and keep going, you know. And I think the last semester itself was so hard, but I'm so glad I'm done with school and I never have to like go back and enroll in a class or anything like that. So I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna stick to being an adult now.
there you go, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I had a question that just escaped me. But um, oh, that's what it was. If you had to, you only had time to show someone one song, and maybe you'd already answered it with Cage Flower, but you only have opportunity to show someone one song. What's is it? Cage Flower, or what's the song you're picking?
I'll say this. I think it depends on the person.
Okay.
If it's like somebody who like I would say this, like I would show a hip hop head Crocodile Dundee
Yep.
or Fight or Flight because that's like what gets them going, or even Camp. But I think Camp's too long to show.
Yeah.
Um,
And camp's
more
not
of like
all just you. It's
yeah,
like yeah.
facts. Like to show like the Tool House and like what I'm getting into, like Crocodile Dundee and Fight or Flight are definitely those records. Cage Flower would be definitely somebody who is leaning toward like tell me a story, like those
mm,
storyteller people, like a J. Cole lover, or even like I would say like the female demographic would probably lean toward more Cage Flower than anything because there's more singing involved, or even
mm,
shoes, um, as well as the hip hop. But I like making records where it's fusions. I love
yep.
making different aspects and alternative genres and just trying to push the boundary as much as we can. But it also gets interesting to see like what songs stick with who. And it's been all across the board. Like every single time I've sent people songs, like some people didn't like Fight or Flight, where other people loved it, and it's the most streamed song before the album drops. You know, so it's funny how like things like that work. Where Crocodile Dundee is also such a fan favorite, and it's like not doing as good as Fight or Flight. So it's just like, okay, how does this, add up? But I think Fight or Flight and Crocodile Dundee are like the same vibe and everything. I think Fight or Flight was definitely more of like a commercial viable one, where Crocodile Dundee feels like underground. But either or, I'm gonna turn up July 24th with those records, and it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be jumping around in a U-Haul with them. But I think it depends, but definitely Cage Flower or Crocodile Dundee, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And so another question, this one's a little bit deeper. What is something God has shown you while writing this album and working on this album?
Hmm. That's a really good one. I've never even thought about that. Wow. That's like a actual thing. I think the biggest thing that I would say that's the question one more time. He
Oh,
showed what
yeah.
God
What's
showed
the
me.
biggest thing God has shown you as you've been writing this project and making this album?
Yeah. Um, I'll preface with this. I feel like when I started working on this album, the biggest thing I was kind of talking to a lot of people is obviously the posture of one's heart when it comes to making records, or just being the intentionality of someone's heart is like the biggest thing throughout, right? So I had a lot of stress and a lot of doubts because it feels like this project is so different in comparison of the entirety of Christian hip hop, and just seeing like how little I've mentioned God or like Jesus. Like there's not many Jesus bars or God bars throughout this album, but that was the intention. I think God was showing me that you can express your creativity and also give glory back to God, but you can also do it in your own way. And I think this this story is a parable. This
Yeah.
story is talking about something that is fruitful, where it's saying like, hey, like this is how Christians are surviving in the world. Sometimes it's harder than you think. Sometimes it's easier. In this case, it's not. It's pretty hard. This guy's going through a lot. I'm not gonna lie. This guy's doing it. But
Yeah.
it's just the aspect of like your faith and seeing like how that can change through your life, seeing what environment, like maybe I shouldn't live in New York and maybe I should live in Atlanta, like those aspects that like play into one's part in your community. And like, where is your community? Is it even where you're living? Is it where you're like laying your head at night? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's the idea of like stripping one person out of their comfort zone and seeing how that impacts, seeing how that influence, and seeing how they could be delivered, or maybe they don't. You know, like I think that's the idea of it too. Is like not everybody's gonna make it to heaven. Like that's a realization that we kind of have to
Yeah.
come to. And it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes because you're like maybe like you're really tight with one homie, but he just doesn't believe in God, and you're like, "Up, I've been praying for you every single day," and then he just never does.
Yeah.
Like like is God in fault? No. Like that's just how that is, like that's just the way humans are wired sometimes. And I think like if you can accept the idea that everything is gonna be perfect once you're there anyways, and I've wrestled with this too, because I have a lot of like family that doesn't believe in God and everything. So it's really hard to like sit here and picture those things and being like,
Mhm.
but it's also like, no, God's got his hands in it. So like just let God take care of it, as well as do what you need to do, your due dil, due diligence. Couldn't say that for some reason. But I think that just kind of plays the impact. But yeah, seeing what God does create, like seeing how God can be reflected in a creative way is like such a cool thing. And I think one, it's not perceived often because I feel like there's a standard where you have to hit this Jesus bar, or I want to like tell the Bible explicitly, and this is how I want to showcase it, and everything like that, because that's what everyone's been doing. So, like, separating yourself from that and then perceiving your own way of thinking is the way I've been trying to pursue music in my own way, because I think once you can strip away from what is normal and cater to something that is original, it's going to do you so much more good than anything,
Yeah.
especially when it's not jeopardizing morals and the posture of your heart is always still there, you
Yeah.
know? And I
Yeah.
think that's the big,
Yeah. Yeah. I've been preaching on a lot of people shouldn't we shouldn't have to tell people that we're a Christian or wear shirts that say, "Hey, I'm a Christian."
yeah.
People should know that we're a Christian just by the way that we live, and like you don't necessarily have to have that Jesus bar, but like the album
Mhm.
reflects Jesus, and people are like, "Oh, okay." Like you don't have to necessarily say it, and I think that's an important thing, and that can be our greatest witness. Is just the way that we live, and people notice that we're different and set apart.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. So you talked about you know people around you and stuff like that. I think one of the reasons I like camp so much, as it's going to come out, and how you talked about having other artists on it, is it talks about like that community and having that community that we need and having those different voices on it. I think is a really cool aspect
Mhm.
to that. So yeah, is there anything else you want
I
to
think
talk about on that? Yeah,
I think one, it also like sonically it's so engaging because you hear so many different voices. And I think even the placement of each artist was intentional because I wanted people to have their moment. And so like Yaki the Kid, right?
yeah,
He has this distinct, very distinct, almost like Pop Smoke like, but it's him
yeah,
in his own way, which I really love because it's like obviously it's his voice. He can't change that other than like auto tune if you want to do that or just anything like that post wise. But he has such a cool, creative, original voice that has this insane tonality, and the timbre itself is just so, so cool. So like placing that and then hearing Kin's like a higher pitch, like almost like a nasally sound, but
yeah,
it's like his own way, and then hearing that in the context of Yaki, and they're going back to back. Like it's really cool to hear the tonality switches, and even like Freddie Faith, like he has this more chill thing where young Drew starts like barring up at the end and everything. So it's really cool, and I think Tony Trotter and Yaki probably had like my favorite verses off that song. Just because they're so top tier with lyrical capabilities, and like when you hear them rap, you're understanding every single word they're saying. And I think that is such an impressive skill that I've been incorporating in my own tool house, which I'm very grateful that I can. But a lot of rappers should, I mean, like if you're going for a lyrical approach, like those are the guys you should start studying because like one, they're up and coming, and two, they're one of the like they're leading. I would say they're leading CHH and up and coming artists, at least in my opinion. Other than like Caden Jordan
Yeah.
and like anyone else I'm forgetting, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime I've had someone on, they've said like uh, that the Tony Trotter and Yaki, like those are two guys.
Yeah, they're
So,
leading.
yeah, and it's cool to see this freshman class. I think there's a lot of hitters on this freshman class, yourself included. Um,
Thank you.
this freshman class is definitely one that has been one of my favorites. Mostly because I mean I've gotten to work with a lot of you guys on the podcast. In my
Yeah.
interview with Sticks, actually, Sticks, I met him at a concert where he was playing drums but opening, and at a
Oh, wow.
local school, and that concert started three different programs in the school. So like, see, going to see him started a impact in that community, and being able to talk, seeing him get recognized and talk to him about that type of stuff was really cool. Because it did a lot for my life personally and the kids in my community's lives. So this freshman class, I think is a really good one. So yeah, you talked about camp. Is there any other? You talked about the music video for Cage Flowers. Go into
Mhm.
how did that all go? How was this your first music video, or have you done other ones in the past? I can't remember.
Can you repeat the question one more
Oh
time? You were
yeah.
cutting out.
Oh no,
If it was
no
lag or
problem.
something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good. So Cage Flower, you said there's a music video coming out for it. Is this your first
Yeah.
music video that you've done?
Ooh, so that's a good question because like before I was a Christian rapper, I had like secular music out and everything.
Yeah.
And I had recorded like this song called Ocean Waters. It's like it's just like a different genre. It's not I don't even know if it was rap. Like I was just kind of like singing on it. I don't know. But I ended up filming something really, really long time ago. I think I was like a sophomore in high school or freshman. But I ended up doing that, but I don't think that's up there anymore. So this technically will be. Oh, actually, I lied. There's another music video I did called "Find Your Way"
Yep.
with Christian Fear, and that was a fun thing because I didn't like edit any of that. He does that for a living. He's a videographer and everything,
Mm.
and so like release music videos and everything, and he's really, really good at what he does. And so I ended up going to Tulsa, not even to see him intentionally, but like to see a friend, and I ended up like linking up with him and filming a music video in like the same day. And so that was really, really cool to see like how a professional really does it. And then Cage Flower is more of a DIY approach where it feels like an indie film almost. But like for me, it was just more of like color grading each like different shot because each shot was like very different. There's a scene where it goes to night, like in the second verse, all the like shots like become night, everything, but in a different lens. We also incorporated like fire, like we had we had Eli like squirting lighter fluid on the fire so it would like fly up. And so there was a really really cool shot where like it gets like you can hear my tone changes and it's like getting really really serious and aggressive and then the fire starts booming and it's like so cool. And then I ended up like jumping in like no, I'm not gonna say it was an actual swamp because it really wasn't, but it looked just like a swamp, and that was perfect. So we filmed it in like it's called Frog Pond, and it was like in some nature trail that was 5 minutes from my house. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go here. And then I ended up getting in the water. And this was actually how we took the cover art, because like in the album art itself, I look like wicked soggy and everything. Because I was just in this water, and then I get out and like my beanie was like half over my eye, and it just looked perfect. Like it was just like one of those things that were so natural, and it just worked out. And so filming the music video there was really really fun, having Eli involved. I even had Gabriella involved as well. She played the girl that was like my love interest and everything, and because there was a love interest in my real life, and so I wanted to express that. And so she has like this thing that the girl in real life, she like loves to be represented as like a sunflower. So that's why like all the flowers are sunflowers. So it's like kind of paying homage to her.
Nice.
Um, yeah, and it was really it was an interesting moment because her and I broke things off. I like showed her the song, and I was like, "Do I have your approval? Like, is this okay?" And we like just ended things too. Like it was probably the worst time to say something, but we were in the studio, and I was like, "Here it is," and I showed her, and she was like, "That's amazing!" Like, I'm so excited to see what God does with that, you know. So it's cool to
That's
like
cool.
still have that support, even though
Yeah.
things change, and it's changed for the better. Because I hope she's doing well and everything. And this is not a diss track. This is more of just like a representation of like seeing real life come to music, and I think that's such a cool thing, you know. But shout out my sunflowers out there, I guess. But yeah, the music
Yeah.
video was really really fun to make though. It was just it took a lot of time to edit, and
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still editing. And it comes out tomorrow, so fingers crossed. But
Yeah.
we're lit. It's gonna be done for sure. I'm
Yeah.
so close.
That's good.
I just need
That's
to make a thumbnail too. I forget YouTube does thumbnails, and so I'm like, oh, I gotta make a music video thumbnail. Let me lock in.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I was at a music video shoot for a music video secular, um, but just seeing how many times they just did the same thing over and over again to get the right
Yeah.
shot was like a cool experience to see. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean like and the shots that we did was only like maybe half of the music video and it took a couple hours. Um, so
Hmm.
that was cool to see that background of stuff. Uh, but yeah, so uh, you talked about the music video and stuff like that. So, is there any other part of this album that you want to share with the people?
Man.
It's probably a lot given this has been your last like at least 7 months because we recorded in January and you had already been working on it. So,
I think the biggest thing that I always come back to is more of like I want this project to be something that young, inspiring artists study.
mm,
And I say that more because I've seen trends where people have become like very repetitive with their releases, and it feels like and I'll say this, like if you're an artist that is releasing once a week, and it's like you're trying to like just maintain each song to get out, because like I get it, it like helps with like exposure and consistency and even your craft. But like if you could take a step back and really learn, like there's like 13 aspects of a good song. Like there's so many things that you could take into consideration, and even building an album in itself is a journey. Like I think 10 months is a pretty short time for like an album. Like
mm,
if you're really like taking your time with it.
mm-hmm.
And I've seen people finish albums in 2 weeks. Like it just depends, you know? But I think it really depends on the artist, but I also want this project to be like you can do this too. Like it's not impossible to do it on your own. And I've become very hands-on with my work, and that's like such a blessing in itself. But it's also like hard. Like it's a lot of things, and you have to have a lot of time to commit to it. And so being in the position that I am right now, like I've only committed my time to this. And like if I have to be somewhere, then I'm taking a few days off and I'm coming back like boots on the ground running, because it's like I got an album dropping in a week. So like I got to lock in, you know. So like again, thank you for letting me come on the
Oh yeah,
show and everything, and
yeah,
just talking about that because it's like this is what we're supposed to do. This is the whole premise of continuing to build. And
yeah,
so it's always fun to express, but I definitely want the bottom line of this project to be something that people look at and be like, what can I take away? What did I connect with? And what did I not connect with? You know, and I love hearing people's thoughts and like the way they retain each song in the project as a whole because there's themes to it. There's a story being told and like if you can see hear that and then envision it visually, like I think it's such a cool thing to experience because it feels like a soundtrack to a movie. Feels like there's something being said here, and I think that's fun,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But
What's next? Album comes out on July 24th. What
yeah.
you have a concert that night? Are there more shows coming up this summer that you can talk about? More music. What's next after what's comes of August 25th or
Oh, I'll say
July
this.
25th?
Yeah, July. Um, so when the album drops July 24th, I'll be doing a show in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Next day I'll also be doing a show in Atlanta, but at a venue called the Vinyl. And so that'll be really fun. I'm collabing with YOF, so they're called Youth on Fire. They're their
Mm-hmm.
underground group, led by like Saint Retro, Germ, and Brocky. And those guys are awesome. Like I love them so much. I met them through my manager Anna G Rated Co. And she's been such a phenomenal help with like my own career and getting me connected with them and showing them my album and everything and seeing like how they react to it. It's super super cool because they have such a unique sound in their own lane, and I have mine. And it's not like necessarily clashing, but I ended up getting to do a feature with Saint Retro off his new album called Land of the Free, and so it's called Redline, and so we'll be performing that together too, and so that'll be really really fun.
That's cool.
It's been exciting. More shows are definitely in the works. It's just more about getting that in fruition.
Yeah.
Because I really want to tour with this album and really just stack up shows with this album because I feel like this is something that people need to see visually and like take take in live because I think that will be a moment for people. And I think the songs have such a value to it where if I can just set it up visually with like props or like, you
Yeah.
know, some stuff like that, like you see me in a fit, like this is what I'll be wearing. Like you know what I'm gonna be wearing. Like it's the thing of that. Like it's the brand, it's the imagery, and it's the visual aspect that I get to show people, as well as sonically where the songs come in, and I think that's so much fun. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot of fun. Hopefully a deluxe in the works. I just want to see how my main focus is just seeing how this album retains the people off the jump and like seeing how that plays out. Um, and then I guess a Scooty Wop feature will be coming out soon. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that'll be fun. That'll
Yeah.
help the numbers.
Yeah, we got to get you to
Sure.
uprise. Got to get you to
Yeah,
uprise.
facts. I would
uh,
love that.
I think the
Go
lineup's
get me
set for
put
this
that
year.
price.
Hey, I'm trying. Anytime I see a poster, who do you want to see? Your name's on there.
I
uh,
feel that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Hope maybe I'll make some connections this year and get you there.
Yeah,
I think the lineup is set for this year, unfortunately, but
yeah,
maybe next year we get you at Uprise. So Bubba, if you're hearing this, you know who to call. You gotta come.
yeah.
so
Ghostbusters.
yeah. So um, as we end, I mean, you've been on here before. I like to end in prayer, so let's go ahead and pray.
Yes, sir.
Dear God, I just thank you for today, and I thank you for the opportunity to talk to Peair about his album Swamp. And Lord, I just thank you for the work you've done in his life over these 10 months of working on this album, Lord. Lord, I pray that you put this music in front of the people who need to hear it the most, Lord. That people who need to listen to this and get something out of it, Lord, that you put that there, Lord. Lord, and we just pray for the success of this album, Lord. We just thank you for the talents that you've given Peair and the people around him to help him on this album, Lord. And we just pray that um, it glorifies you uh, and that more people can listen to this album and that people, young artists, can get inspired by this album, Lord. I pray all these things in your name. Amen. All
Amen.
right. So July 24th, get on
July
Spotify.
24th.
Midnight, July 24th at midnight, comes out at midnight, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Get on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever
Well,
you listen
actually, technically, it'd be Thursday, so it'd be July 23rd at
at
midnight.
midnight. Yeah.
Is the full day of, yeah. So
Yeah.
July 24th, anytime you're awake at July on July 24th, go listen to Swamp.
Yeah. Listen to it. Listen to it again. Send it to like 10 friends and then
Yes.
listen to it again. So,
And then
excited.
again,
And then
and
again,
then
yeah. Add it
another
to all your
time,
playlists. Add it to, just
and
go
then
ahead.
listen to the playlist.
Yeah, yeah. Go check out the music video. Maybe when you
Yeah.
go to work, just put the music video on loop on your computer and just let it continue to
Oh
play.
yeah. Just get the algorithm rolling. We like that. We like that.
Yeah,
This is good crowd control.
comment on all. Yeah, so go check out Peair. Go listen to some of his other music too. It's fire. So thanks for hopping on and thanks for taking
Thank
time
you.
out. Excited to see what God does with this album. All right.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen to that.